All right, if you just joined us, it's still Journalist Hangout. I still have Adewale Adeoye right here with us and Asukwa James. So straight to our next conversation. Despite conflicting reports about importation licenses for petrol into Nigeria, availability of the product in the country is on the rise. Importation of petrol, also known as premium motor spirit, PMS, to the Nigerian market increased by almost 100% to 5.9 million litres per day in March. According to a report by the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, the figure is 2.9 million litres higher than the 3 million litres imported into the country in February. Okay, as fuel consumption dropped sharply from 56.9 million litres to 47.3 million litres. That's one. And fuel imports increased this time. Talk to me. What's responsible for these figures?
For the increase, right?
For the increase and also the decrease.
Well, I think one of the reasons would have been the licenses, those who have licenses in 2025.
Okay.
Are trying to bring in their product as quickly as possible. Remember this Middle East crisis, So most of those who have actually made payments,
yes,
their shipment actually came in on time, and so they actually had to, get their goods on time so that increase. So that's part of the increase, and then from what I also gathered is that Dangote too, also had to drop a little bit. I think he produced about 48.2 million, liters, per day. I think he had a drop. There was a drop also in January, but in February it increased, So there was this fear, with the Middle East crisis. There was this fear that we'll be having fuel price queues and all that. So those who have licenses, because I know Dangote has been complaining about those licenses, that we should not issue licenses for 2026. I'm not sure they've done that. The regulatory agency have not done that for this year. But for 2025, those who have those products, they've been pushing in their product on time for them to be able to see if they can quickly sell off and then be able to ask for licenses. But so far, so good. I think Nigeria has, survived these global headwinds.
Yes.
Originally, people don't know, would have been queuing up to buy fuel. We have been queuing up to buy fuel if we had depended more on importation. And so we have to also give kudos to Dangote for us to have taken that initiative, for us to say, okay, Dangote, start, producing locally. Because if we had also depended on those who are importing, we won't even have the supply that we have today. So even if you look at the numbers of even the so-called drop per day and even the ones that they are importing, it's not even enough for us. Because from what Dangote was saying that we consume in a day is about 45 to 50 million liters per day. But from what we have, it's not even up to that. So it means that we would have had a shortfall, a major shortfall if Dangote was not there. Because Dangote does about 36 to 30, about 36 upwards
million litres.
Million liters per day. So this shouldn't, really give us anything for us to be, afraid. Because we have a Dangote who is also assisting, But for now, I think by March, maybe by the time this whole crisis, is over globally, we might not even have up to this. The increment might not be up to this.
Let's fingers crossed. I hope President Donald Trump and the negotiation goes through. Now, fuel consumption dropped. The fuel imports increased significantly. But what does this signal?
Well, you see, there is this argument from Dangote Refinery that we should not, import. When you're in business, the first thing you think of is the survival of your company. But you need to balance it in the context of the survival of the people too, in terms of corporate responsibility. So, because why you are saying that we should not import, the fact of the matter is that even countries like Saudi Arabia still imports.
Yes.
Saudi Arabia has 10 refineries and is the largest exporter of petroleum. But they still import. US still import fuel, 60% coming from Canada. And US has 132 refineries.
Refineries, that's true.
In about 32 states. Saudi Arabia has about 10. And in fact, one of them, very big, the biggest in the Middle East, produces about over 500 barrels, almost close to what Dangote produces. India has so many refineries, but gets about 74% from other countries. Dangote himself that says we should not import, he exports.
Yeah.
He exported to Cameroon, to Cote d'Ivoire, to about 400 something, several barrels of oil.
A1 to some countries as well.
So if you are exporting, why are you saying that we should not? So what I see is a kind of capitalist monopoly. And I don't think on the long run, yes, the argument is that protect local industry. But then, US is also, there are many ways you can protect. The important thing is that fuel should be accessible to us at prices that are affordable. Because if prices are not affordable, if we cannot afford them, it's going to destabilize the country. When you are paying so much from here, I bought granules some years back and I look at Toyota. Lagos to, they use old paper to wrap it. Lagos to Akure, 5 naira. I saw it there, 5 naira. Somebody applied in that, to get for his company, 5 naira. From now, if you are going to Akure, in fact, you will be paying about 15,000 naira. So if you are on a salary of 100,000 naira, then you just travel to Lagos, to and fro, you are spending 40,000 naira. If I'm going to Ekiti State now, I need about almost 150,000 to fuel my car. How much did I get at the end of the month? So you need to realize that businessmen, there is a need for you to also know that having a stabilized country is a way to also protect your business. But when you concentrate on primitive accumulation of profit, at the end of the day, we are all going to lose out. Because the country will not be stable, there will be so much anger, there's so much vengeance. So we need to, get to a station where we have 9 refineries in Nigeria, including modular refineries. What has happened to the 4 refineries?
Those
the one, 2 in Port Harcourt, Warri refinery,
they are gone.
the one in Kaduna. Why can't we revive them? Dangote should not delude himself that he will be the only producer of oil in Nigeria. So we need more so that prices on the average can go down, and then we can have a country where things will be stabilized for the interest of the businessmen and for the interest of Nigerians.
All right about now we have Olushola Julius calling from Ibadan. Olushola, let's talk.
Yes, Oreshegun, good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
Asuko James and the other man. Good evening, sir.
Adewale Adeoye.
Yes, Adewale Adeoye. I'm sorry, sir, but I forgot your name. Now, you see, I don't know why Nigerians or Nigeria as a country, we need to get more refineries. Dangote is doing well, but when we have more, it will improve our capacity as a nation. You remember those days when we have only Nitel? When I was in the university, that was only the means I used in calling my parents. But at the time, Nitel was not even so relevant again. We have them in their quantity. So you go for anyone that suits you. So likewise, if we have this as well, it will improve the capacity of our country, and Dangote on its own will be stabilized. And it can as well spread its own wings to anywhere you want to go to without nobody questioning. You're all doing a good job there.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. But Adewale, I like the point that you raised, okay? But now that fuel imports significantly going up, what impact will this have on our foreign reserves? And even also balance of payments as well?
Well, I think if you look at the dynamics of, the Middle East crisis, there's no way we can run away from, what is,
what's going on.
the Strait of Hormuz is being where you have about 20% of, global oil supply. So it's not just going to affect the countries in the Middle East; it's also going to affect us. Absolutely. And even people exporting crude, where we export crude, know that there's no way to not be affected. So it's going to destabilize the whole global oil network. So I think that we can't run away from the prospect of importing, especially when you discover that the ones that are produced locally are not necessarily cheaper. Sometimes when you bring oil from, you bring some goods from abroad and they are cheaper than the ones you buy at home.
Locally.
So it's just logical that you are going to bring in those goods because they are, the prices are not, they are not fundamentally different. So as long as we have a situation where the cost of production, to produce 1 barrel of oil in Nigeria is very high and it's cheaper to bring from abroad, even if it's just about $1 or 200 naira different, then you can't spoil. I mean, you cannot stop people from importing oil. So we need to balance export and import. But the focus, the mission should be to stabilize the economy so that we can, make life more comfortable for Nigerians.
Talking about petrol, I'm sure how much you got fuel and all of it, and how much you spend a week on petrol.
No, I can't even say that because
should Nigerians expect, stability? Is there like a time? When do you think we should?
No, first let's see, if we want to say time limits. If I tell you, it's going to end maybe next month or next week, we don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
Because the Middle East crisis has really destabilized the entire global economy. Even most Nigerians don't know. Even Americans, they are crying.
Yeah, it's almost up to $5 now.
Yes, they are crying. Something that you have already planned that, okay, this month I'm just going to buy a gallon for $3, and all of a sudden it's $5.
Yes.
It's crazy. So our own is, before we used to buy it, maybe it's between 700, then later it moved to 800, then now I think we are buying at 1,250. Okay? So if you look at how the price has gone and how things are, the only thing is government has to see how they can support. Yesterday I was discussing. All right,
just hold that thought. We have Godwin calling in from Aja. Godwin. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening, Godwin.
Yeah. Please, I want to be on to the program on this fuel issue.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Is there no way the government can help the citizens out? Is this how we are going to remain just because Iran and the Americans are fighting war? It's not fair. Yeah? There are ways government can bail us out. The citizens are suffering. They are suffering. Yeah? The way the fuel just rose up, the price of the fuel just rose up, everything started skyrocketing. Prices of things getting harder, getting higher and higher. Things are getting harder. It's no good. The government should bail us out.
All right.
He talked about, the president talked about the gas something. Yeah? Nothing like that on the street. Nothing like that on the road.
All right.
We are still buying fuel at a very high price.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's not good.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
So in terms of petrol, we'll keep having these kinds of price. The hike will come. It's either it goes up or it comes down. So the government, just like he said, now, has to step in. Because I was having this conversation with BKO yesterday.
Okay.
That the federal government has to come up with something to assist. Yes, the CNG. I know they came up with.
I think this is the best time for us to
10,000 free
that conversation
and
of
all
CNG,
that.
alternative energy.
So many people don't want to convert. Even the CNG stations. Have you gone there? The one in my area. If you see there's a queue there, you will run, because both keke, trucks, everybody they've converted to CNG. But I keep saying that even when the CNG they are cheaper. Does it also translate as in when these drivers are buying at a cheaper rate?
Will they reduce price?
Reduce the price of transport fare? They don't.
That's a valid question.
They don't. And so that is why the federal government has to step in, speak with the local government, speak with these people, these NURT and LT, whatever they are, to also tell them that if you are using CNG, you shouldn't be saying you are taking K2 to Ikorodu at 1,000. It shouldn't be 1,000. It should be closer. It should be like 200 or 300. Let's be frank with ourselves if we want to help ourselves.
I agree.
And anybody that is using CNG is a truck driver and is bringing goods to Lagos or to wherever. You can't be taking the same price that somebody who is buying fuel. You can't be taking the same price. You can't be taking the same price. You know, so please, I think it's something that the federal government has to also look into.
All right, we have Belei from Ikoyi. Belei, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Oreshegun.
Yes.
You are doing a very good job.
Thank you.
Let me tell you, when people doesn't like the federal government, they will say anything. I took initiative yesterday. I entered a CNG bus. They are all over Lagos.
Yes, we know.
All those T24 buses, they have converted them, all those private T24 buses, Volkswagen buses. They are the main buses on Lagos Road now. They have been converted with CNG. The problem we have is that the commercial people, they have not brought down the prices.
Exactly.
Are you getting me now?
Yeah, I do.
And they were giving to them freely by the federal
It was
government.
free.
Your other man there is correct. The other problem they have again is how to get the CNG refilled. To queue up, there is a station along Itire Road there. Itire Road. There's a station by your left there where you are coming from Oshodi. You will see the CNG filling station. But the queue is another problem. Government will provide more CNG stations to refill.
All right, thank you very much.
That is the only thing I have seen.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Asuko, just landing your thoughts so that we move straight to...
No, I think from what Belei they said, you know, government just needs to assist. If they need to monitor these things, you know, it will go a long way. You know, because people, just like you said, people are going through a lot.
A lot.
Yeah. You know, so if I want to, and anything in human life, because I've noticed that even if you travel abroad, they know how to plan their lives.
Yes.
And Nigerians, from the way the federal government has been going, the way the president wants to do is for us to be able to plan our lives and know that, oh, if I'm earning 70,000, I should be able to plan my life based on 70,000. I should know how much I will spend for transportation, for my food, for my clothing, and for my rent.
Absolutely.
You know, so we must be able to get to that level.
All right, gentlemen, let's move straight to our final conversation.